say she love me, but that's a motherfucking lie. If you mean that shit, then look me in the eyes. I know you after my cheddar, so you can step aside. Where the real ladies at, you can step inside. We can jump in the limo and we can let it ride. The VIP status, that means I'm bonafide. I'ma kill this pussy like it's a homicide. She said she wanna wear that chain while she give me brain. I ain't tricking no dollars cause money ain't a thing. She ain't want me when I'm broke and I'm selling dope. But now I'm racking, she can't see me with a telescope. You ever heard of K-Blao? Yeah, he's hella dope. He spit it better than the niggas signing in the scope. I lit the blunt and split the pussy like a cantaloupe. These women sick in the head, I got the anecdote. Stop sleeping on me, baby, guess you understand. This is not a dream, welcome to my wonderland. And you were still sleeping on me, baby, guess you understand. This is not a dream, welcome to my wonderland. She gon' keep moving that booty, I be blowing the smoke. If she be moving like this, then that nigga might choke. Like I ain't fucking with a rubber and I'm going for broke. And I bust up in the pussy like I'm out the dope. I don't fuck with stripper bitches, they be doing that coke. When I fuck my gangster bitch, I be wearing my loafs. She be passing me the loud, I take a token, I stroke. Then I bust all on her titties while she throwing the folks. If she be paying like she weighing, I'ma play like the coach. Until that bitch should run the lap around my dick while I float. Your man lack imagination while he rocking the boat. So when we smoke this blunt together, we gon' leave him the roach. Stop sleeping on me, baby, can't you understand? This is not a dream, welcome to my wonderland. And you were still sleeping on me, baby, can't you understand? This is not a dream, welcome to my wonderland. I feel so good right now. What up, people? Man, what the fuck? Man, what the fuck? I bought a fucking Furby. And I'm totally regretting this shit. This shit is creepy as fuck. Like, I guess at some point this motherfucker gonna shut the fuck up, man. But like, this motherfucker tweaking. But what up, man? It's your boy K-Blao Hood. Man, I'm gonna kick this motherfucker the fuck up out of here in a minute, Joe. But yeah, we live, man. You see the name of the video. It's about Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker about to get the fuck up out of here. Today was a tragic day for hip hop fans. For not just hip hop fans, it's just a bad day in general. We lost Mac Miller, you know, who was a troubled soul, you know, and we're gonna talk about it, you know, and I'm like I say at the beginning of every video, I'm gonna try not to make this shit too long, you know what I'm saying, even though my videos usually go about 20-30 minutes, but I'm gonna try to like literally speak on this because I went and did a lot of what up, who in here? Maximilian, what up? He'll be on all my videos. Shout out Jimmy James. Yeah, Mac Miller was a Capricorn, you know what I'm saying. He was born in a troubled week for a lot of Capricorns, you know what I'm saying, and he was dating a Cancer, you know what I'm saying. If you know Adriana Grande, depending on how you say it, you know what I'm saying. She was a Cancer, born June 26th. So here we had, you know, two opposite signs, you know, dating each other, which you often see a lot of times, especially when people don't know about us. Yo, hold on, man, I gotta get rid of this motherfucker. I'm about to replace this motherfucker real quick, bro. Alright, so, yeah, you definitely gotta go. Hold on. Well, you gotta get the fuck up out of here. motherfucker still talking. Alright, he had to go. I'll get my nigga Donald up here. Hopefully he don't fall over. My nigga Donald Duck, he don't talk. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so where was we at? So yeah, Mac Miller was dating a Cancer. You know what I'm saying? Now if you don't know the signs, if you're new to the signs, as a matter of fact, if you're new to my channel, you know what I'm saying, just want to give you a quick update, let you know that like most of my channel deals with stuff from astrology to science, comedics, metaphysics, things like that. So this is a metaphysical / astrology breakdown, and just the birthday, which is also called personality, on Mac Miller. So the difference between personality and astrology is personality deals with the actual date and the characteristics and the personalities of the other people who was born on that date. You know, and I started to do research on people who was born on January 19th, and I started to see a pattern that I want to discuss in this video. But right now I'm just giving you some general information about Mac Miller as far as like his relationship he was in with Adriana Grande. You know what I'm saying? Mac Miller wasn't even 30 years old, he was 26 if I'm not mistaken. Very young. A lot of people are guessing it was a heroin overdose. People are saying right now it was a drug overdose. So more than likely, typically what we see it as a heroin overdose. Haven't heard anything from his parents or any relatives come out and speak out just of yet. I'm sure that stuff will be coming out later. And also, Adriana Grande cut off the ability to leave comments on her Instagram for obvious reasons. Probably a lot of people going on there leaving fucking fucked up comments, basically blaming her for his death because they had recently went through a very public breakup, and he had took a lot of time off of the internet and not been putting out social media, and just basically was silent for about a year. You know what I'm saying? Before he had recently just came out and started putting out material. He was recently on Stephen Colbert's show back in August, performing one of his records. He just released a very cryptic video called Self-Care about a month and a half, maybe about 2 months ago. And you know what I'm saying, it was him inside a coffin, digging his way out of the coffin, and he left a symbol on it saying that basically it was written in Latin saying that you gonna have everybody has to die. It's like one of the most recent videos he had put out. And mind you, this is a whole take on Kill Bill. Like you ever seen the scene? It was in Kill Bill where she was escaping out of a coffin, she got buried alive, and she was trying to break out of it. Like they literally took this scene and recreated it in his video, and it was a great video. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of cryptic in the regards of like XXX Stention's last video had a coffin and it was talking about death and him having to basically face his death, and kind of show you where his mind has been at for the past couple months. And he also had just did a recent interview where he sat down and the interview was asking him about, you know, how he was dealing with the relationship breakup and what he had been doing while he was, you know, not online. And he was answering these questions very good, very, you know, straightforward and honest. He said, hey, you know, I was in a relationship with a girl, we broke up, we moved on, and he wasn't looking at a person, and it didn't seem like he was blaming the relationship on his depression and nothing like that. But when you listen to a lot of the music, you know, I went and listened to a lot of the music, read the lyrics, and just tried to place myself back when I was, you know, 26 and going through a breakup and just, you know, trying to just really empathize with the situation. And I kind of see that, like, you know, on the surface, and like him being a Capricorn born January 19th, they hate public breakups. You know what I'm saying? This is very difficult for a Capricorn to go through a public breakup. You know what I'm saying? And I could definitely see him, you know, the answers he was giving, he was saying that how he was able to go online and get his ego totally fed to him, stroked, and then totally destroyed within 5 minutes. And then people say, oh man, I love you, you're the greatest. And then people say, oh man, you suck, you know, within 5 minutes of just, you know, getting online. He wake up in the morning, grab his phone like how we all do, you know, and he would just scroll through Twitter and just read what people were saying about him. So like he was, even though Capricorns love to say that they don't care about public image, they fucking care what you think. They love to say they don't care what you think, but that's all they think about is, and I never understood this. You know what I'm saying, about Capricorns. Matter of fact, you know, a friend of mine, you know what I'm saying, who's a Capricorn, he had a song where he says that I don't care. It's the first thing he says on the song is, I don't care what you think about me. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yes you do, motherfucker. Like, that's why you saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it can be very difficult for a Capricorn to go through a public breakup. You know, and especially for, like, you know what I'm saying, the situation where Adriana Grande turned around and she got with somebody else right after this Cancerverse shit. You know what I'm saying? She broke up with him and basically got with somebody else right after this, and they got engaged, as a matter of fact. You know, and he basically made it seem like he didn't, none of this was bothering him. He was putting out music, but if you listen to the music, it's very depressing music. You can see he was in a very depressed, Capricorn-esque like place, and this all spiraled into. And I also know heroin addiction. I've seen tons and tons and tons of heroin addictions. I know these spirals. I know that the way that they respond to you. I could tell he was high in his interviews, and that like he's giving responses that's just like, I've seen this shit with heroin addicts, how they know how to say exactly, like they be numb, they be high, so they know how to say exactly what is expected basically of them. You know what I'm saying? They have a very good awareness of like how the whole situation is being viewed, and they know how to play on this shit in a way where it's like he's very aware of his image, so he knows how to say exactly what's expected of him, but like they not gonna say the shit, the core shit that's really like, that's what I try to deliver on this channel more than anything, is like that core perspective that a lot of people think but just don't say. You know what I'm saying? A lot of heroin, when you on heroin, it'd be just that. Is it like you can feel the matrix, they can see the matrix, but like they don't. A lot of times, like in the music, is where you find like that real. It's like a I don't even understand this shit. It's like a cryptic type game type thing, but it's like rappers do this a lot too, and like diss, and like they put out subliminal diss and stuff like this. Like they kind of like just they make music, and the music's real cryptic about what's really going through their mind. That's the only place where you can really find like the real thoughts of what's going on in their mind. And that's a lot of what was going on in his music. If you read the lyrics to Self-Care and the most recent song he had performed on Stephen Colbert, a lot of that stuff it's just key depression issues, but just being in the spotlight. And him being born on January 19th, I looked at a lot of celebrities and a lot of people who were just in public life who had these same type of issues going on. And I was looking at the way they dealt with it, and I was like, oh my God, it's just a lot of tragedy. Born, not just on people that day too, but like people just born right around that day. And then like I looked at, first of all, like, you were talking about January 19th, but before I even went into that, I looked at like just people was born that week, which was like Ray J is born this week, January 17th. You know what I'm saying? And I look at the stuff that's going on with like stuff that goes on with him, and like recently, like he was getting this clown. He got in a fight with Fabulous, and you know what I'm saying. The whole perspective, like I had to go listen to that whole interview, and like there was an interview with Drink Champs with Nori, Jadakiss, and Fabulous, and they were basically telling the story of how they had got into it with Ray J, and like all these guys are from New York, and Ray J is from Cali, and like Puffy was there, so like it was just a lot of ego in the air, and Ray J was bugging, he was tweaking, and they were all saying that like, man, Ray J was just tweaking, and they didn't really get into the core, which is like, it was just really major insecurity issues that I had seen too as well. Like if you go watch this show For the Love of Ray J, you know what I'm saying, when they surrounded him, all these women, they was really like, you could tell the producers really like nurtured his character, and like that was a really character that they had put together for him to be able to deal with all of those women. Because if you watch like the first episode, he was fucking tweaking, like being around all the women and shit, and like they literally had to like pull him aside and like tell him like, hey man, like you can't be responding like this around these females, because they looking at you like you supposed to be a star. But like he was gone, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if he was off cocaine or something, like, you know what I'm saying, but like in the very first episode of For the Love of Ray J, you just watch how like his handlers was basically like handling him, because he literally could not keep that character intact. And like this is kind of what's similar what they was telling the story about how he got in a fight in Vegas with all these guys from New York, and like he was just really insecure, but on the surface trying to make it seem like he was secure. You know what I'm saying? This is what a lot of Capricorns go through. You know what I'm saying? Especially the ones born that week. You think Martin Luther King as well. He was killed. He was born January 15th. This is somebody who was killed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people think of Martin Luther King, they think of him as a great man, but you think about his life, like the things he was going through, and like the image, and like who he really was, and him being killed and stuff like this. Is not an easy life. You know what I'm saying? On the surface, you think about it, you know what I'm saying, but it's not. And a lot of Capricorns born that whole week, you see it's like their life is like our entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's a struggle there to basically define themselves in an ever changing, in an ever mutable world. You know what I'm saying? The Capricorn is literally trying to establish themselves but you see it just constantly just getting turned upside down. You know what I'm saying? It's like the harder you see Jim Carrey too. Like, you know, he's a Capricorn. You see the stuff he's went through recently, and he has a show coming out. It looks brilliant. I'm definitely gonna watch it. It's called Kidding. I think it's called. It's on Showtime. So he has a show out right now called I'm Dying Up Here. You know what I'm saying? He produces. It's about comedy and the dark places that comedy come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, he produces this show, and he has another show, like I say, called Kidding, which is just like dealing with the same stuff, like depression and trying to put out a happy image while still like dying literally inside. You know what I'm saying? And this is what that whole week, a lot of the Capricorns, you know what I'm saying, was born that week. And when you look at Mac Miller, him being in a relationship with Adriana Grande, you know what I'm saying, and that opposite energy right there, it's just another thing. It just shows like him, it's like young, you got lust issues there, you got the entertainment there, you got drugs there, you got music, creativity, and just all this limelight, money, and it's just, if you that young and you in that cabin and you moving that fast in life, and all of a sudden for him to go through a breakup like a public breakup like that, that can really like scar a Capricorn to the point where they can like, it's very hard for them to like recover from shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They know they'll never be the same. And you listen to his music, you know what I'm saying, the most recent music, you see that shit. It was like, on one half you see him, he matured, but there was like a more coldness and more just like an emptiness there. There was like, it was just too much for him to bear. And I was researching, you know, January 19th, and I saw like I was coming up with, you know, different people who shared his birthday, and I was like, oh, like I started to see like just different patterns and things, and like this guy, like, you know, this guy, Shawn Wayans, you know what I'm saying? Like, of all the Wayans brothers, you know what I'm saying, to me, I think he's like least funniest. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing really wrong. I was looking up his lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, like things was going on with him, was really nothing. It's very mysterious. There really wasn't nothing there to really find out about. And then, like, of all the Wayans brothers, he's kind of like the most low key, and like he don't really speak out too much about none of this issue. Now, Marlon Wayans talks about he had depression, bipolar, and all types of issues that he's very openly willing to talk about. You see what I'm saying? But Shawn Wayans, you see, he keeps that image intact, and that you see there's like literally no cracks in the surface. But like you look at the Wayans, you see there's obviously a lot of issues there behind closed doors that obviously don't get talked about. But this is somebody you see. He's always kept a image that's like he's never, you know what I'm saying, took it out of the Hollywood context. You really don't know nothing about him, you know what I'm saying, and I'm sure he prefers it that way. But, you know what I'm saying, the more and more I kept digging, you know what I'm saying, I looked up and I realized that this chick, I don't know if you know who this woman is, you know what I'm saying, she got the same birthday, you know what I'm saying. Anybody know who this woman is? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you've seen her just recently in the, I'm gonna wait and see if anybody know who that is, put a picture up there. You know what I'm saying? She just got famous again just recently last year for some shit that she didn't want to get famous for. This is what I was talking about with Capricorns. And yep, that's right, that's Paula Deen. You know what I'm saying? Now she was first got famous for doing cooking. And a lot of her cooking was like really unhealthy cooking, like butter and fucking like really like deep southern fried foods and shit like that. It was like, you know, back in the 80s and shit like that, she was famous, and early 90s and shit. And but a lot of shit backfired on her because she put out a lot of this questionable content, and there was rumors moving around her organization saying that she was basically like a racist, and that like she wasn't scared to say niggers, and like they was coming up with all type of racist shit on the menu. They was talking about making sambo burgers, and like she was putting out content that was like some borderline racist and shit like that. So like when she was confronted about this, like there was nothing she could really say or do. This like literally destroyed her career. You know what I'm saying? And like she's trying to make a comeback right now, but like this is the one who was born January 19th, same shit. And like I was like, wow, like that's just devastating. Like when you just look at, when you think of Paula Deen, it's like you just think it's like almost like a curse. And then like this woman is literally like cursed. You know, there's no coming back for her. And like I think this is the same kind of shit that Mac Miller had kind of saw himself. It's like an image, and like once that image gets fucking changed or shifted with a Capricorn, it's very hard for them to change that shit, to come back. You know what I'm saying? To be comfortable with the change of their image. As a matter of fact, you look at you know what I'm saying. Side note, R. Kelly's a Capricorn too. He's going through a lot of drama right now with, you know what I'm saying, controversy. him, with sex and lust and unbalanced lust, and you know what I'm saying, women saying that that he gave him STDs, women saying he got a sex cult, women saying he got like a 19-minute song out called "I Admit It" or some shit like that, or "I Admit It," I think it's called. You know what I'm saying? Where it's to me it's lame as fuck, but it's basically the same shit. Like, it's basically him dealing with this change in his image. He don't know how to fix this image. You know what I'm saying? He has no idea how to fix this image. And a lot of Capricorns go through this, but specifically we dealing with January 19th. I was able to see this pattern more and more. It was just more clear. I was like, damn, like, these are very image conscious people, and once that shit get fucked up, they don't know how to deal with that. Yeah, so Paula Deen never quite recovered from that. She's doing everything that she can to recover from it, but she hasn't. I don't know if you know who this girl is, you know what I'm saying, but this is the girl that was in the Logan movie. You know what I'm saying? If you ever seen Logan, she was like this crazy ass girl. You know what I'm saying? Logan was the last Wolverine movie. You know what I'm saying? He had a daughter that was like even more ruthless than him, and it was this girl right here. Like, she was like, the girl was barely like even 10 years old, was running around slicing motherfuckers' legs, cutting motherfuckers' arms off and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was some straight Capricorn shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, she's a child. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, she don't become one of them typical child Hollywood stars. But you know what I'm saying? Keep your eye on this girl. You know what I'm saying? Because like, she got the same birthday, January 19th. And I remember just when I was watching the Logan movie, I was like, man, like, this girl really convinced me that she was killing all them people. Like, that girl really sold that role. Like, even me looking at her, that picture just creeps me out. Like, even just looking at her, I just be like, damn, man, like, that girl really creeps me the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the shit she was doing in that movie. Like, I really think that she is that girl. Like, well, I think her name was X23 or some shit like that. I really think that girl is her. Like, she really sold that shit. But, yeah, she has that same birthday, too. So it'd be interesting, you know what I'm saying, watching her for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? You might want to keep that in mind. I don't know if you ever heard of this girl. Let me ask y'all. Y'all know who that is? Any of y'all know who that is? Any of y'all ever seen that picture before? You know what I'm saying? She was born January 19th. You know what I'm saying? This girl named Shawn Johnson. You know what I'm saying? She's a gymnast. You know what I'm saying? And America love her. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know her story, you can look it up. You know, she had found out she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And went online. Mine was an accident. She didn't even know she was pregnant. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant." Went online and was like, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant." And did this live video, and everybody was congratulating her and everything. And then a couple hours later, she started getting stomach pains, and they had to rush her to the hospital, and the baby died. So the same day she found out she was pregnant, a couple hours later, she lost the baby a couple hours later. So she had to get back online. I'm just talking about image shit. She had to go back online basically and say, okay, I know I just put out this video saying, you know, I was pregnant and me and my husband had this baby, but actually I just lost the baby. And she had to, you know, basically double back on that whole shit. So like, this type of shit you got going on January 19th. But I was like, man, what the fuck is this type of shit, man? Like, I do not want to be born on this fucking date. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, it's like some gift and a curse type shit going on. You know, and that, like, how do you even deal with that? How do you deal with a situation like that? Like, you went out and put a video out and everything. You know what I'm saying? How do you sum that up? What type of sense do you make from that? And this is the same type of shit I'm sure Mac Miller, like, some type of, you know, it's like, you know, him going through a relationship like that with man, mind you, like, when you know the cancer verse, like, if you ever fell in love with a cancer, you know what I'm saying, when you young and you fall in love with a cancer, like, cancers had that, like, when you young, you will contemplate suicide. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you fall in love with a cancer, you see what I'm saying, male or female, like, they will do it. And then, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have your core, you know what I'm saying, it don't matter what sign you are. Like, I've seen this shit, like, people date, like, the fucking games that cancers play. You know what I'm saying? It don't want to say games, because to them it don't even be a game, but it just be like, I've never seen like a Cancer person know their spouse more than their spouse know them. Or like, you know what I'm saying, like the triggers, the issues, and like, you know what I'm saying, like getting with somebody like that. You see what I'm saying? You playing with fire, like getting with somebody like Mac Miller, like you see what I'm saying, like, and playing with that, entertaining that shit, like you see what I'm saying, like that shit is like she had gotten into some shit where they shot up her whole fucking, like she was, that was like a suicide bomber or some shit, like overseas. She did a show overseas and like some suicide bomber had like blew up her whole fucking show, and like a bunch of her fans had died and everything, and like he was there for her through this whole shit and everything. You see what I'm saying? And like I don't know, you know, and who knows what going on behind closed doors. That's why a lot of times you can't really blame her. But I do know, like I've seen situations where like, you know, guys being with Cancer people, you fucking bitch, fucking broke my heart. Like Cancer bitch will break your fucking heart if you ain't got your cord together. And I'm sure that he dealt with some of this shit too, and that, you know, I listen to his music and you hear that suicidal tone and that shit, that dark devil. The Capricorn's got the devil talking in their motherfucking ear. You know what I'm saying? And like, listen to his music. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna see like, it's like dealing with it, like this female dealing with this. Like, how do you gotta write a poem, you gotta write a song, you gotta, like, there's no fucking words that's going to explain the bullshit that you just went through. Like, matter of fact, let me tell you about this dude. Like, let me see if any of y'all know this guy. Y'all know this guy? Anybody know who this is? Let me see if we got some real hip-hop fans. I'm gonna give y'all a second to see if any of y'all know who this is. Anybody know who this is? I'll be very impressed if anybody know who this is. Nobody going once, going twice? Let's see, anybody know who this is. You know what I'm saying? This dude, you know what I'm saying, he got caught, he born January 19th. He got caught, what happened to him? He had domestics. He beat the shit out of his wife or his girl, you know what I'm saying? And I think somehow they had like federal charges or some shit, like some charge, so they charged this nigga wild as hell, you know what I'm saying, for some domestic shit. And then somehow he got the charges dropped. But then Smith Ruthless, they turned around and this nigga said Mighty Joe Young. It's fucked up. They turned around, like after they dropped the charges on him, they turned around and found like the same charges on him, like basically from a lower statute. You feel what I'm saying? So like he thought he was out of this shit, but then he got hit with the same charges again, basically just from a lower, you know, from a lower standpoint. So like if you don't know, this dude's name is Zero. You know what I'm saying? It's Z-Ro. You know, he's a rapper born January 19th. You know what I'm saying? Fucked up image, you know what I'm saying? Got this shit on his image, got it on his Wikipedia, can't get it off. I'm sure it fucks with him, even though he got the charges dropped. You know what I'm saying? The shit is stealing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about this type of shit, man. Like, this is the fucking games that the ether play with motherfuckers born on January 19th. And then, like, it's like, they want that image, and then it just comes and fucking, you gonna get, Dolly Parton, too, was born on this day. I ain't gonna throw a picture up there, you know what I'm saying? But Dolly Parton was born January 19th, you know what I'm saying? And if you study her background, you know, she's a very fortunate white woman, you know what I'm saying, growing up in the 70s, 80s, and shit like that. She had a very, very huge success, you know what I'm saying, growing up, but she ain't got no kids, you know what I'm saying? She never had no kids, you know, and her husband, same shit, he don't even fuck with none of her limelight. He don't like that whole, everything about her whole life, that's what I'm saying, it's fucking totally hidden. She don't have no kids, you don't even see her fucking husband. You know what I'm saying? Everything about her is like strategically placed in front of you, what she wants you to see. You know, and you think too, like, damn, Dolly Parton rich as fuck. She like one of the most wealthiest women in country music like ever, and she ain't got no kids, nobody hand that shit down to. You know what I'm saying? And they asked her about that shit, and like she was like, oh well, God has a plan, and God didn't want me to have children, so you know, I'm a mother to everybody instead. This is like what she sound like she's rehearsed that shit in the fucking mirror. You know what I'm saying? But nobody really knows why she can't have kids. You know what I'm saying? And maybe she can and chose not to, or maybe she can and she's just not saying. But yeah, she never had no kids. And also too, speaking of you know what I'm saying, kids, losing kids. I don't know if y'all know, anybody know what this is? Let me ask you, y'all know what this is? Oh man, get out the way. Blocking down shot. Anybody know what that is? If you grew up in the 90s or the early 2000s. Anybody know who that is? Anybody? You know what I'm saying? I was actually a fan of this show. I thought this show was fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? They got a quote. They say, man, don't let this distract you from the fact in 1966. What the fuck say? Don't let this distract you from the fact that in 1966, Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns in the game-winning touchdown against the Panthers and beat his nemesis Bubba Dixon. It's like one of the most funniest fucking trolling lines you could ever see on the internet. You see what I'm saying? She was on this show. You know what I'm saying? It was a show called Married with Children. It came on back in the you know what I'm saying, back in the 90s, early 2000s. Right when there was just a lot of crazy shit coming on TV. You know what I'm saying? And this woman, you know what I'm saying, her name was Peg. You know, and she was the butt of a lot of jokes. You know what I'm saying? And Al Bundy was ruthless. You know what I'm saying? Against his wife, he used to sit there and fucking talk hella shit about her. But like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand why he used to shit on her the way he did. Cause like to me, like yeah, like I didn't see nothing wrong with her. I thought she had big huge boobs. She used to always put in your face and shit. You know what I'm saying? And she was all prissy and shit. I didn't understand why he was so ruthless. He used to shit on her every fucking episode. You know what I'm saying? But she was born January 19th. You know what I'm saying? She ended up doing the cartoon voice for a TV show called Futurama. It was basically like a spinoff of The Simpsons. You know what I'm saying? It was the character, the girl had one eye. You know what I'm saying? She does the voice of this. It's over, I think it's like over 10, 15, maybe 20 years, some shit like that. She was doing the voice for that. So, you know, she did more television after she got off Married with Children, so on the Fox network. But if you don't know her story, you know what I'm saying? It happened one time when she was doing the show. She was doing Married with Children. A lot of people don't remember, like, at one point, Peg had got pregnant on the show. You know what I'm saying? And they was going to have a baby. But, you know, happening was, one episode, you know what I'm saying? They did a whole season, basically, where she was pregnant. And then at the end of it, there was no baby that never came. You never saw this baby. And then, like, toward the end of her pregnancy, she woke up and the whole thing was basically a dream. They made it like, okay, Peg was pregnant, but the whole thing was a dream. And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, back then there wasn't no internet. Nobody never really understood what the fuck had really happened there with Married with Children. And then Peg, born January 19th, you know what I'm saying, her real name is Katie Segal. You know what I'm saying, she got pregnant for real. And a lot of times it's tricky like this when we're running with TV shows because it's like, okay, how are you going to deal with a pregnant character, you know? So the producers decided to work it into the show. They said, okay, well, fine, we're going to make you pregnant for real on the show. So she was pregnant for real on the show. But toward the end of the pregnancy, you know what I'm saying, she lost the baby. Stillborn. Baby was born stillborn. Baby was born dead. So they didn't know what the fuck to do, you know what I'm saying, with that. This is what the fuck this is January 19th shit. You see what I'm saying? It was like, what the fuck you gonna do with this? We didn't got a whole show basically saying same shit basically happened to Shawn Johnson. It was like, okay, well, we didn't put out material saying that she's gonna be pregnant, but now she done lost a baby. Same exact shit happened to Shawn Johnson. You know what I'm saying? So they basically made it seem like Peg's whole pregnancy was a dream. You can research this on Married with Children. You see what I'm saying? And I thought this was fucking mind-blowing to me that, you know, that both of these women was born January 19th and lost their baby, and then Dolly Parton had no baby. So I think somewhere behind closed doors, like, something similar probably happened to Dolly Parton. Either that or she found out she can't have kids or some shit like that. And then, like, you know, the ether spoke to me like that. And I was just able to see, like, man, okay, January 19th, Dolly Parton. Mind you, Dolly Parton had a very hard childhood growing up. She was broke as fuck growing up. You see what I'm saying? Super broke. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all of her money and all that stuff like that, you would think that she would want to, you know, pass that down to another generation, but it's like, nah, like, the buck stops there with her. So, like, and then when I saw this with Katie Segal, I was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely something bigger than what she's saying. You know, but Dolly Parton come from that era, you know, the 70s, 80s, you know, where they keep a lot of it. They way more private about their public life, you know what I'm saying, because they did way more crazy shit, especially back in the 60s and 70s, all type of orgies and crazy shit going on, drugs, and a lot of that shit stays buried back then, you know. But yeah, so that was Katie Segal's story. January 19th, another one, you know what I'm saying, was born January 19th. Did I even? Yeah, this dude, I don't know if y'all know who this is. Anybody know who this is? Anybody? Anybody? You know what I'm saying? Anybody know what that is? This guy, you know what I'm saying, he was on For the Love of Hip Hop for a while. You know what I'm saying? He was with a female, I believe her name was Erica. You know what I'm saying? They had a very crazy fucking relationship, you know what I'm saying? But you talk about the same thing about public image, and then like he has a daughter, you know what I'm saying, where like the mom was basically saying that like he's basically a deadbeat dad and he don't take care of the daughter, nothing like that. And you know what I'm saying, and that shit, it fucks with his image, and to the point where like he got into a lot of beef on his Instagram. Like he'll sit, like if you go on his page and you say something about like, you know what I'm saying, him not spending time with his daughter, like that motherfucker, like Lil Scrappy will fuck around and respond to your ass. Like he's like, bitch, fuck up, motherfucker. Like that shit fucks with him. Like to him, that's like a huge stain on his image. It's like a cloth. I mean, it's like a piece of dirt on a white shirt. It's like you go see that shit. So like it fucks with him. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing insecurity in him that he can't do shit about his character. It fucks with him. And also too, a lot of people don't know, Lil Scrappy got hit in the face with a champagne bottle and it knocked out all of his teeth. So he had to get a whole new set of teeth put in to cover up for the fact that he lost his teeth in a fight in a bar. You know what I'm saying? So that was major blow for him. You know what I'm saying? But you could kind of see how like in the image of things, the last thing you would want is your teeth to get knocked out, especially you're a motherfucking rapper. So that's why whenever you see him, his fucking teeth is always super fucking white because they not real. You know what I'm saying? But you can imagine how much that fucks with him. You know what I'm saying? As a rapper, and just, you know what I'm saying. And then, you know, they put, like I said, the constant people attacking his character about him and his daughter. If you watch For the Love of Hip Hop, there's a lot of ratchet shit on there. He made an ass out of himself hundreds and hundreds of times. And, you know what I'm saying? It really fucked up his image. That whole show really fucked up his image. He never really recovered from that shit either. It really was not a good look. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, if you go on his Instagram, a lot of people, they still be clowning him and shit. You know what I'm saying? For basically not taking care of his daughter. Now whether or not that's true or not, I don't fucking know. But it's an image thing. You know what I'm saying? That he fucks with it. He can't shake. And he takes his image very fucking serious, even though like nobody fucking takes Lil Scrappy serious at all. But it's just one of the fucking things that, you know, can't nobody tell that nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. And just to throw some other ones in there, like, you know what I'm saying, people born January 19th. I don't really, it was other people, but I didn't put them all down here. But Robert E. Lee, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know what that is, but you look that up. I ain't gonna even give you that file. But that motherfucker is like, you talking about one of the most ignorant motherfuckers in American history. Yeah, Robert E. Lee, you look that up. He was a Confederate soldier. You know what I'm saying? January 19th. You see, it was just a curse. His whole life is just basically a curse. Everything he stood for, everything he believed in, just totally fucking. His whole life, whole image, same shit. It's like literally like everything he stood for just totally fucking backfired on. And it's like, in Hood we got a concept called sitting to. Oh, I didn't even say this guy. Right. This is the last one I'm gonna do, I guess. This guy. Anybody know who this is? You know who that is? I throw this picture up here. And like, do I really need to say anymore when I throw this guy's picture up here? This guy's January 19th. You know what I'm saying? You talk about that. He died 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know what he died of. Some people blame it on alcoholism and heart attack, rabies, disease. Nobody really knows exactly how he died because he has so many fucking ailments literally killing him. But this guy suffered from depression. His mom and his father, his mom and his dad were dead. He was an orphan. You talking about a fucked up life, man. You look no further than this man right here, born January 19th. This is Edgar Allan Poe. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most darkest writings, drama, depression. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to even go too deep into the shame because just the energy behind this shit, it's just, you know what I'm saying? When you grow up, I don't know if you went to high school or grammar school at some point where you were exposed to Edgar Allan Poe. Or it's just one of them things that you know is there that you just put in the back of your mind because you know it's just some things you just don't like thinking about, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, that's this man's chamber. And, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to remember, Mac Miller's born on this same day as well. So, when we line up all of this energy, you step back, you see, okay, January 19th, for the most part, is a very challenging day. And it's a very misunderstood day if you don't understand what the fuck you dealing with. And then, like, this is a chamber where you dealing with dark secrets, shit in the past, you know what I'm saying? Just, dealing with just image and just want to be seen and understood from a certain perspective because of, like, you know what I'm saying, just because of their perspective on things. It's, a matter of fact, like, I wanted to show, right, I'm going to show this thing, I'm going to leave this here too. I'm going to do this last little piece. And then, let me see, what was it, do like these. I fuck with this, like I said, I can do it from here. Let's do it like this. Let's do this like this. Hold on, man, you fucking up. Hold on. Technical difficulties here. Alright, so let me get rid of this. I can go in here. And we can do like this. And we can go like this. Right? Right? Ah, man, come on, man. Give me a break. Okay, it's not working. That's it. Still not working. I don't think it's gonna work. Ah, man, it sucks. Okay, hold on, let me try one more thing. I want y'all to read. I might just read it, but I wanted y'all to have the ability to be able to read along with it, but it's not giving me that option at this point. Okay. Okay. Nope. Alright. Well, that sounds so bad. Let me do like this. Okay, and secret language. I do this book called Secret Language of Birthdays. You can basically read it for free online. I bought the book, but let me see if I can do like this. Hold on. Man. Okay, that ain't gonna work either. That sucks. Let's try like this. Hold on one second, people. Hold on one second. Browser. Aha. Come on, man. Yes. I don't know what the hell is going on. But here, let's try it. January 19. Ah, man, what the hell? Ah, man, what the hell? Is it gonna let me do it? Yes, cool. January 19th, here we go. Are we good? Right, we're good. Okay, so let's do like this. Let's do like these. Bring this here. Alright, so yeah, like I said, I use Secret Language of Birthdays. This is the Day of Dreams and Visions. Dolly Parton, we talked about. Katie Seagal, we talked about. Paula Deen, we talked about. Overview, electric, creative, influential, adjusted, unstable, self-destructive. Overview, personality. You go here, personality. This is not, it's Smith Day. Today is Smith Day. Hold on, let me try like this. Let's do like this. Right. Close this. Do like this. Okay, let's do that again. Secrets. Alright, now we got now I can scroll. Okay, personality. No, I can't scroll. This is just ruthless today. Let me see. Can we do this? Yes, we can do that. Okay, cool. Those born January 19th must be allowed for space to happen to dream and experience their highly unique orientation to life. Even in the most practical areas of their work, they tend to act according to far-reaching social and universal ideas. These powerful individuals are often in touch with the hidden aspects of human emotions and consciousness, and to the extent that they bring out such truths in their own uncompromising manner of living, can be example to others. In their family and social lives, born on this day are often recognized as people who can not only state their opinion forcefully, but also through their personal magnetism lead others to accept their views regarding everything from taste to politics to morality and arts. What? They must, however, avoid getting sidetracked by negative phenomenon and becoming habituated in self-destructive tendencies. January 19th people can be extremely difficult individuals who lead very difficult lives, but nonetheless manage to function dynamically and impact greatly on their surroundings. It is as if every ounce of their energy can, when necessary, be directed outward. Actually, outside of moments of peak experience and intense involvement with their world, those born on this day may appear surprisingly ordinary. They appear surprisingly ordinary. But by locating powerfully human qualities within themselves, the more highly evolved January 9th people perform a kind of alchemy where they can't scroll down in the... Oh, God, there we go. Hold on. It's Smith Day. You got to work with me. Hold on. Alchemy where they transform themselves or their work into something exceptional. Certain January 19th individuals, however, find it near impossible to lead any kind of stable life. Constantly beset by personal, usually emotional problems, they burn like bright comets in the sky and then disappear into the blackness of the night. See that? That's crazy. That's exactly what happened to him. Beset by personal, usually emotional problems, they burn like bright comets in the sky and then disappear into the blackness of the night. January 19th people of this type, Smith Day, must learn to moderate and balance their frenetic energies and to meditate their intensity. Often an empathic bond with understanding more stable individual is of vital importance in grounding them. Often an empathic bond with an understanding more stable individual is of vital importance in grounding them. Alright? So if you know somebody born January 19th, you might want to show them this. Other January 19th people feel compelled to make a strict division between their imaginative work and their ordinary, stable, private life. This is Dolly Parton. Feel compelled to make a strict division between their imaginative work and the more ordinary, stable, private life. Or on the contrary, adopt more normal work patterns which balance an intense and imaginative inner life. So these type of people work a job that they fucking hate, or they'll just try to find what normal is and try to appear and like live normal because they got this energy that is like moving. It's like a supernatural energy moving through them. So like when you don't have nobody literally to first tell you this about yourself. Secondly, they like freaking Mac Miller, same shit. Like he looking at life as a normal, musician moving like through like normal. He don't know that he's born or these from this groups of people. So he's not gonna deal with depression issues. He's not gonna deal with these types of breakups and heroin issues and music. He's not gonna deal with this the same. So this is why you get this type of thing of him like just playing it normal. And when you look at him, a lot of the times he looks normal. It looks like there's nothing wrong there. So he's really good at making it seem like there's nothing wrong there on the surface. But deep inside, they very dark, depressed. So they will find that they're very good at dividing that energy. This is all Capricorn people really, I've noticed, are good at this. This is why they hate public breakups. You know what I'm saying? There's another reason they'll stay in a relationship that they hate just to avoid the breakup. You know what I'm saying? Because they cannot deal with just dealing with answering them questions and dealing with people and shit like that. They hate this shit. Other January 19th people, I read all that. In either case, a striving for objectivity and balance helps them weather the white heat of their own expressive energy. The natural enthusiasm and high intensity of January 19th people should not be denied. Those born on this day who repress their individuality and creativity are eventually headed for, look at this. Those born on this day who repress their individuality and creativity are eventually headed for frustration and unhappiness. Often a sense of crisis arises at 28 and then around 42 years of age, where they must make fateful choices concerning widening or restricting their activities. So he died at 26, but you see right here it says crisis arrives at 28, but it's pretty close. So once again, you see this, the readings are right usually. Let's talk about their health. It says have to learn to channel their wild energy productively. Keeping a balance between their practical and imaginative sides is crucial to their mental well-being. They have to be practical with their imaginative side and their practicality, which is very crucial to my channel as well. Like a lot of times I talk about my channel, and that I have my channel, and you say whenever you're ready to graduate into the practicality of this stuff, this is where corporate algorithm is. It's like where you can actually use these things on a day-to-day basis. The things I'm talking about, not just the astrology, but also the weather patterns and just knowing the times of the dates and the energy, and being able to practically apply this on a day-to-day basis in multiple ways, and through business, and also meditation, and also just the things that you eat, different electronic shit that we use. It's all type of things, that you don't want all this stuff in your head. You know what I'm saying? When you study a lot of astrology, comedics, metaphysics, Kabbalah, spirituality, whatever they call, mysticism and chakras and all this stuff, like you really get in your head. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have a good system of putting these things in place, and then to the point where you transcend the system, where first it's like learning to ride a bike, where you be okay. It literally takes all of your focus and understanding to ride this bike or tie your shoe. But then after a while, you do it unconsciously. You're just naturally doing these things where it becomes you. You know what I'm saying? That's what we all should be striving for. Not to know all this information, but to be able to pop lock it, to be able to be practical about it. This is very important for people born January 19th. And that when you have a lot of mental energy and you have a lot of drive and all of this, it can turn into lust. It can turn into porn addiction. It can turn into a lot of types of misplaced energy. It can they can be abusive with their family members or with their spouse, or they can be just explosive. I've seen this shit, you know what I'm saying, with Capricorn people. And they can be just very insecure about, you know what I'm saying, learning these things about themselves. I've seen that. I've been blocked multiple times by Capricorns. You know what I'm saying? The Capricorns will cut your ass off quick as fuck if you start telling them some real shit. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen that. So they're either all the way in it to fix themselves, or a lot of times they just out there. You see what I'm saying? So the key about being practical on a day-to-day basis, having some type of practical form to put. That's why they take jobs and shit. They just work jobs that they fucking hate. A lot of times they be like, okay, well, I got my job, and be like, a lot of times they ain't even what the fuck they want to do, but it's just something there to keep their mind from, going through these, crazy insecurities and questioning and double questioning themselves and shit like this, because January 19th people often go overboard, expending large amounts of energy. They risk something or burnout. They basically risk burnout. Consequently, they must cultivate discipline, learning to give themselves structure to their lives. In the latter respect, both exercise and diet can play an important role, being areas around which a day can be structured. Vigorous physical exercise is recommended, but a non-competitive nature. Also, meditative physical activities such as yoga and Tai Chi are possible. As far as diet is concerned, eating well, hot, balanced, hot cooked meals, take vitamin supplements, coming down on sugar, alcohol. In general, is looking forward to sharing food and companion release, blah, 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 blah. I've seen Capricorns get gallstones and shit, too. I've seen that. Not gallstones. What's it called? What's that shit called? Is it called, not gallstones, what is it called? Kidney stones. Kidney stones. I've seen that shit, too, you know, from eating a lot of bullshit. So, like, so now we got that shit out the way. We're able to see that this was the climate that Mac Miller was in. Like, you see what I'm saying? And that, oh man, this shit about to do this stupid shit. Oh, no, I did. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is the climate that he was in. And that, like, it was a lot of, the devil was working behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? And you throw heroin or, you know, drug addiction into this, is just a perfect recipe for disaster. So, I hope that, I gave you some information. Think about if you are a Capricorn, if you are born January 19th, if you know somebody born during that week, you know what I'm saying? Consider, you know, the symbols, consider these signs, consider this information, you know what I'm saying? And the path of the other Capricorns that was born, you know what I'm saying, during that same week. And then, like, there's a lot going on in their head. There's a lot of demons, literally, that they're fighting. So, you have to approach with caution. You have to approach with understanding. Hopefully I said something in this video that can help give you some more clarity toward approaching it or dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows a Capricorn. You see what I'm saying? Most of the Capricorns I know, believe it or not, was born in December. You know what I'm saying? In like that first week of January. But like everybody knows a Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? So last thing, before you poke fun at a Capricorn, before you you know what I'm saying, talk about their ways and shit like that, just know that, like, man, like, they're ruled by the devil for a reason, and that shit is on their neck, man. That shit is in them. So, you know, try to have some type of understanding, you know what I'm saying, because any, you know, Mac Miller could have been basically anybody, you know what I'm saying, that, you know what I'm saying, to deal with Capricorn energy. Anybody that I read to you on that whole list, you know what I'm saying, people born that day, like, any one of them could have basically overdosed and died, and it would have been totally fucking understood. You see what I'm saying? Any of them. You know what I'm saying? So, just think about that, and that, you know, they have real demons. A lot of times they just, like, they need somebody there who really understands, somebody who basically subscribe to my channel to basically be there in their life. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who collects information, somebody who is hoarding all this information, somebody who really has a proper understanding and a nurturing aspect to, walk with their ass, you see what I'm saying? Because they need it, obviously, in this situation, you see what I'm saying? And, you know, walking out on their life, you know what I'm saying, like some situations like Ariana Grande, and even though they tell you, oh man, everything's okay, but like, you know, walking out of their life, you know what I'm saying, if you're a very important person in their life, that shit can be devastating to them, even though they'll tell you that it's okay. So you have to watch what they do more so than what they say, you know what I'm saying? A Capricorn will always tell you that they're okay, especially motherfuckers born this week. They will always tell you, man, everything good. But like, you gotta watch what they do more so than what they say, and you know, and just be a good friend. And when they say be a good friend, basically mean be there when nobody else is there for them. You know what I'm saying? You always want to be there for a Capricorn. If they call, a lot of times Capricorn will never call you and tell you shit fucked up. But if they ever reach out to you, man, be there for them. You know what I'm saying? And don't judge them, just be there, because like they need it. They need it. For real. And if you ain't never seen me before, you brand new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I want to say rest in peace to Mac Miller. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go listen to some Mac Miller records, going to have some tequila, roll up a splizzy, and burn out to Mac Miller all night, man. Salute. And thanks for watching. And I got one last thing to say, which is you did.